Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if one of your old coins might be worth a small fortune? What if I told you that a simple quarter from 1960 could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Yes, the 1960 Washington silver quarter dollar might be sitting quietly in an old drawer, but some collectors are paying big money for it. Today, we are going to take a closer look at this incredible coin. We will explore its history, how to identify the valuable versions, and most importantly, how much it could be worth today. So sit back, relax, and let's take a journey into one of America's most collected and valuable silver coins. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became one of the most popular coins in circulation. By 1960, the design was already familiar to Americans, featuring a strong image of George Washington on the front, or obverse, and the majestic eagle on the reverse side. But what makes the 1960 version of this quarter so special? The answer lies in the materials used, the minting process, and the historical timing. This coin was produced during the final years when U.S. quarters were still made with 90% silver. Just a few years later, in 1965, the government switched to a copper-nickel composition, making silver quarters from earlier years increasingly rare and valuable. If you want to know whether you have a real 1960 Washington silver quarter, start by looking at the date. It should read 1960 clearly on the front of the coin, right below George Washington's neck. The next step is to look for the mint mark. This small letter tells you where the coin was made. You can find it on the reverse side of the coin, just below the eagle. A D means it was minted in Denver. No mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. Also, since this coin is made of 90% silver and 10% copper, it should feel a bit heavier than modern quarters. Its total weight is 6.25 grams. The edge of the coin should show a solid silver color, unlike today's quarters, which often show a copper core. Here are some key details to remember. Year, 1960 composition, 90% silver, 10% copper weight, 6.25 grams diameter, 24.3 millimeters mint marks, none for Philadelphia. D. For Denver. Some of the most valuable 1960 quarters are those with mint errors. These include double die obverse, where some parts of the date or lettering look like they have been stamped twice. Off-center strikes, where the image is not perfectly centered. Die cracks or cuds, raised lines or blobs on the coin caused by a damaged die. Collectors go wild for these mistakes because they are so rare. There are a few reasons the 1960 Washington silver quarter is considered valuable today. Silver content. At 90% silver, each coin has intrinsic value based on the current silver market. Historical interest. It represents the end of an era before silver was removed from everyday coinage. Collectability. With millions of coin collectors in the U.S. alone, demand for high-grade silver quarters has grown. Error coins. As mentioned, rare mistakes during minting can increase the value dramatically. Let's talk about how much these coins are worth today. Worn or heavily circulated condition, around $5 to $8, mostly based on silver content. Lightly circulated, between $10 and $20 depending on appearance and mint mark. Uncirculated or mint state, these coins can fetch between $50 and $200. Certified by PCGS or NGC in high grades, MS 65 and above, you might be looking at prices over $300. Now, if your coin has a rare error, such as a double die or off-center strike, the price can go even higher. Let's look at some real auction results to give you an idea of just how valuable these coins can be. A 1960 D Washington quarter graded MS 67 by PCGS sold for $1,440 at Heritage Auctions. A 1960 Philadelphia mint quarter with a double die obverse in AU condition sold $4,350. Even standard mint state examples regularly sell between $100 and $250, depending on eye appeal and luster. These are not made-up numbers. These are actual sales from respected auction houses and coin dealers. So what does this all mean for you? It means that a simple coin in your pocket change, your coin jar, or an old box in the attic could be worth much more than you think. The 1960 Washington silver quarter is one of those hidden treasures that could lead to a nice payday, especially if you find one in great condition or with a rare mint error. Whether you're a longtime collector or just someone with an eye for silver coins, this is one piece of American history worth looking for. check your change. Look through your old coin jars and family coin collections. You never know what kind of treasure you might be sitting on. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable pennies, and hidden treasures in everyday money, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. What if I told you that a simple coin from 1961, a Washington silver quarter, could be the key to a surprising treasure? Today, we're taking a close look at the 1961 Washington 25-cent silver quarter dollar and uncovering the history, value, and rare features that could make this coin worth far more than 25 cents. If you're a coin collector, or simply someone who enjoys U.S. history and hidden gems, stay with me. You might just have a valuable coin and not even know it. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin, it became so popular that it was added permanently to circulation. By 1961, the Washington quarter had become a regular part of American coinage, with millions produced each year. The 1961 quarter stands out not just because of its design, but because of its silver content. This was one of the last years when quarters were made with 90% silver, making it especially appealing to collectors and investors today. To know if you have a genuine 1961 silver quarter, there are a few things to look for. First, check the date. It must clearly read 1961 on the front of the coin, just below Washington's neck. Next, look for the mint mark, which indicates where the coin was made. You'll find this small letter on the reverse side of the coin, just to the right of the bow in the eagle's tail. If there is a D, the coin was minted in Denver. If there's no mint mark at all, it was struck in Philadelphia. The coin should have a silver sheen and sound different when dropped compared to modern quarters. Silver coins give off a distinct ringing sound, unlike today's clad coins, which sound dull. Here are the key details for the 1961 Washington quarter. Composition: 90% silver, 10% copper. Weight: 6.25 grams. Diameter: 24.3 millimeters. Mint marks: no mint mark for Philadelphia, or D for Denver. Edge readed. The silver content alone makes this coin valuable, especially as silver prices rise over time. But there are also rare varieties and errors that can increase its value even more. Some 1961 quarters are worth more because of mint errors. These can include double die obverse, where parts of the design appear doubled off. Center strikes, where the coin was not properly aligned during minting. Die cracks, where a flaw in the die left raised lines on the coin. Repunched mint marks, especially on Denver coins. Coins with these kinds of errors are scarce and highly sought after by collectors. The 1961 quarter's value starts with its silver content. Even in heavily worn condition, the silver alone is worth several dollars. But coins in better condition, especially those that are uncirculated or have been professionally graded, can fetch much higher prices. Another reason this coin is valuable is its age and limited availability in high grades. Most coins from 1961 have been worn down through circulation. Finding one in mint condition is not as easy as it sounds. Let's talk about how much these coins are worth today. Values can vary based on condition, mint mark, and whether the coin has any errors or was certified by a grading company like PCGS or NGC. Worn condition: good to fine, around $5 to $7, based mainly on silver content. Circulated: very fine to extra fine, $8 to $12. Uncirculated: mint state 60 and above, between $15 and $30. Certified mint state, MS, 65 and up, $50 to $150, or more if it's a perfect example. Rare error coins: some error coins have sold for over $300. Depending on the rarity and type of error. To give you an idea of real-world sales, a 1961 D quarter graded MS67 by PCGS sold for $1,293 at auction. A Philadelphia mint coin in MS66 condition sold for $240. A rare double die error was once purchased for over $400. These are not just numbers on paper. Real collectors paid real money for these coins. So, what does this mean for you? If you have a jar of old change or inherited a coin collection, take a closer look. That 1961 Washington silver quarter might just be a hidden treasure. Even if it's not a rare error coin, the silver alone gives it real value. But if you find one in great condition, or with an unusual mint error, you could be holding something truly special, maybe even worth hundreds of dollars. Now is the perfect time to check your change, dig into that old coin jar, and see what you might find. You could be one lucky coin away from a valuable discovery. Well, you might be holding on to a small treasure without even knowing it. Today, we're talking about a coin that many people overlook, the 1962 Washington 25-cent silver quarter dollar. This isn't just any quarter. Some versions of this coin have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. If you're over the age of 65 and remember these coins from your younger days, you might have one tucked away in a drawer or an old coin jar. So sit back, relax, and let's take a closer look at what makes this coin so special. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The coin was meant to be a one-year commemorative issue, but it became so popular that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter permanently. The 1962 Washington quarter is part of this long-running series and holds a special place in American coin history. Back in 1962, quarters were still made of 90% silver. This was before the United States switched to copper-nickel-clad coins in 1965. That means any quarter dated 1962 or earlier contains real silver, which already makes it more valuable than modern quarters just based on its metal content. Now, how can you tell if your 1962 quarter is genuine? First, look at the date on the front of the coin. It should clearly say 1962. Right above the date is the profile of George Washington, facing left. On the reverse side, you'll see an eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. The edge of the coin should have a solid silver color with no copper showing through. If you see a brownish edge, it's probably a later clad version and not silver. A real 1962 silver quarter will feel slightly heavier than a modern quarter and have a distinct, higher-pitched ring when dropped gently on a hard surface. Here are the important details every collector should know. Weight, 6.25 grams diameter, 24.3 millimeters metal composition, 90% silver, 10% copper. Mint marks. The coin was minted in Philadelphia and Denver. If there's a small D on the back of the coin, just to the right of the ribbon on the wreath, that means it was minted in Denver. If there's no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia. Now let's talk about errors. These are coins that were misstruck at the mint and can be worth significantly more to collectors. Look for these common errors. Double die obverse. This happens when the die strikes the coin more than once, leaving a doubled appearance on the date or letters. Off center strike. Part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't aligned properly during minting. Clipped planchet. A piece of the coin looks like it's been cut or clipped. These rare mistakes can make your coin far more valuable than the standard version. Even though millions of 1962 quarters were made, many have been melted down over the years for their silver content. Others were heavily circulated and are now worn and scratched. Finding a 1962 silver quarter in excellent condition, especially one with a rare error, is becoming harder every year. Collectors also love these coins because they are one of the last few years that quarters were made with real silver. That adds intrinsic value beyond just being a collectible. The combination of silver content, historical significance, and potential minting errors makes the 1962 Washington quarter a valuable piece for any collection. Let's break down what this coin can be worth depending on its condition. Worn or heavily circulated, around $5 to $7, mostly for the silver value. Lightly circulated, between $7 and $15. Uncirculated or mint state, MS65 or higher. These can fetch $25 to $75 depending on appeal. Proof coins, special coins made for collectors, not for circulation, can sell for $40 to $100 or more. Certified coins with errors. If your coin is graded and has an error like a double die, prices can jump to several $100s. Here are some real-world examples of what this coin has sold for. In 1962, D quarter in mint state 67 condition sold at auction for over $500. A Philadelphia version with a known double die error graded by PCGS sold for $1,200. A proof 1962 quarter with deep cameo contrast recently went for nearly $1,000 at a major coin auction. These are not just stories. These are real coins in real auctions that people just like you found, saved, or inherited, and turned into serious money. So what does this mean for you? If you grew up during the 1950s and 60s, there's a good chance you've come across these coins before. Maybe you even saved a few in a coffee can, a jar, or a box in the attic. If you find a 1962 Washington silver quarter in good condition, especially with a mint error, you could be holding on to something that's worth far more than 25 cents. This coin is a perfect example of how something small and forgotten can bring unexpected value. So check your old change, search through your coin jars, and ask your friends or family if they have any silver quarters lying around. We're diving deep into a coin that many people have in their homes without realizing it could be worth much more than just 25 cents. If you've ever come across a 1963 Washington silver quarter, you might just be holding on to a valuable piece of American history. This is not just any quarter. The 1963 Washington 25-cent silver quarter dollar is one of those coins that collectors are always looking for. Whether you're a longtime collector or someone just cleaning out an old drawer, you'll want to pay close attention. Now let's talk about why this coin matters and how it could put real money in your pocket. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The design was meant to be temporary at first, but it became so popular that it stayed. By the time 1963 rolled around, the Washington quarter was already a well-established piece of American coinage. Back then, these quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. That's right. If you have a quarter dated 1963 or earlier, it's made of real silver. This was just 2 years before the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel composition in 1965. That change makes the 1963 silver quarter one of the last of its kind. Identifying a genuine 1963 Washington quarter is pretty simple once you know what to look for. First, check the date. It must say 1963. Second, feel the coin. Silver quarters feel slightly heavier and smoother than modern ones. The edge of the coin is also a giveaway. Look closely. A silver quarter will have a solid silver edge, with no brown or red line in the middle. If you see a copper-colored strip in the middle of the edge, then it's not a silver coin. Now look for the mint mark. The 1963 quarter was minted in 2 locations, Philadelphia and Denver. If your coin has a small D on the reverse side to the right of the ribbon under the eagle, it was minted in Denver. If there's no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. Here are some quick facts about the 1963 Washington silver quarter. Weight, 6.25 grams diameter, 24.3 millimeters composition, 90% silver, 10% copper. Mint marks. No mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver. Designer, John Flanagan. Now let's get into some of the more exciting details. Coin errors. Some 1963 quarters have minting mistakes, and these can raise the value significantly. Look for double dies, off-center strikes, or coins that are missing lettering. These errors are rare but highly desirable. So why is this coin valuable? First and foremost, silver content. With today's silver prices, even a worn 1963 quarter is worth more than its face value. But that's not all. Collectors prize coins in excellent condition, especially those that are uncirculated or certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC. What makes a coin rare is not just its age, but also its condition and any unique features like errors. A perfect or near-perfect 1963 quarter can fetch a surprising amount of money. Let's talk numbers. The value of a 1963 Washington silver quarter depends on its condition, worn or heavily circulated, around $5 to $7, mostly for the silver content lightly circulated, $8 to $10 uncirculated. Examples, $15 to $25 certified mint state coins, $50 and up, depending on the grade. Coins with rare errors. Some have sold for over $200 at auction. For example, a 1963 D quarter graded MS66 by PCGS sold at auction for over $400. Another 1963 Philadelphia quarter in near-perfect condition fetched close to $300. Even more impressive, a rare double die variety has been reported to sell for over $600 when verified by professional graders. That's right, a single quarter, worth hundreds. So, what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you go through your change jar, or help clean out a family member's coin collection, you might come across a 1963 silver quarter. And if it's in great condition, or has a rare error, it could be worth far more than 25 cents. Coins like this are still out there. They've been forgotten in drawers, passed down through generations, or mixed in with pocket change. You never know where one might turn up. So go check your change. Look through those old coin rolls, and if you find a 1963 Washington quarter, take a closer look. You might just get lucky. This is the 1964 Washington silver quarter, also known as the 1964 Washington 25-cent silver quarter dollar. If you enjoy learning about rare coins, valuable quarters, and old money that could make you rich, stay tuned, because this story is one you don't want to miss. Imagine going through an old jar of coins or checking your pocket change, and discovering a single quarter that could be worth hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. It's not a dream. This has already happened to many collectors and regular people just like you. The 1964 Washington quarter may look ordinary, but it holds a special place in American coin history and could be hiding in plain sight. To understand why this coin is so special, we need to go back to the year 1964. That was a time of great change in the United States. Silver prices were rising quickly, and the U.S. Mint was preparing to stop using real silver in its circulating coins. The 1964 Washington quarter was the last quarter ever made with 90% silver intended for circulation. The Washington quarter design had already been in use since 1932, originally created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. But 1964 marked the final year that these quarters were made with real silver. After that, starting in 1965, the mint switched to a copper-nickel blend. That's why the 1964 silver quarter is the last of its kind and highly sought after by collectors. Now you might be wondering, how can you tell if you have a real 1964 silver quarter? It's actually not too hard. Here's what to look for. First, check the date. The front of the coin should read 1964 under George Washington's neck. Next, look at the edge of the coin. If you see a solid silver-colored edge with no copper showing through, that's a good sign. Post-1965 quarters will show a copper stripe along the edge. Real 1964 silver quarters weigh about 6.25 grams. If you have a small scale at home, weigh the coin to make sure it matches. These coins are made of 90% silver and 10% copper. Mint marks can be found on the reverse side, to the right of the ribbon on the eagle's tail. You might see no mint mark, which means it was made in Philadelphia, or a D for Denver. Mint errors that increase value. Some 1964 quarters have rare mint errors that can make them even more valuable. For example, double die obverse, where the lettering on the front appears doubled off center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned. Clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is missing due to a minting error. These error coins are extremely collectible and can sell for far more than a regular silver quarter. Why is the 1964 Washington quarter valuable? There are several reasons why this coin is valuable today. First, silver content. At 90% silver, each coin contains about 0.18 troy ounces of silver. That alone gives the coin a melt value that fluctuates with silver prices. Second, historical importance. Being the last year of silver quarters, the 1964 edition holds sentimental and historical value. Third, condition and rarity. Uncirculated and certified coins, or coins with errors, can fetch impressive prices. Let's talk about what these coins are worth today. A worn, circulated 1964 silver quarter is generally worth between $6 and $8, based on silver content. A well-preserved, uncirculated coin can bring $15 to $30. Certified coins, graded by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, can sell for even more. For example, a coin graded MS65 or higher could be worth between $40 and $100. Rare mint errors or high-grade proofs have sold for much more. Some examples: a 1964 quarter with a double die obverse error sold at auction for over $1,100. Another certified MS67 example sold for nearly $400. These are real examples from major coin auctions and sales. How you could get rich or lucky with this coin. Now here's the exciting part. If you have a coin collection, a jar of old quarters, or even if you're just going through your pocket change, you could find one of these 1964 silver quarters. If it's in great condition or has a rare error, it could be worth far more than 25 cents. Many people have made hundreds or even thousands of dollars just by checking their change. Coin collectors and dealers are always on the lookout for 1964 quarters in top condition or with rare features. So what should you do now? Go check your old change. Look in drawers, jars, and boxes. Ask your family members if they have any old coins. Keep your eyes open for a 1964 Washington quarter. You never know what treasure you might be holding, and if you enjoy learning about rare coins, valuable pennies, and silver quarters, make sure to subscribe to this channel. We bring you new videos with expert tips, coin history, and real examples of coins that could change your life. One of the most mysterious and talked about coins in American coin collecting history, the 1965 Washington silver quarter dollar. That's right, a silver quarter from 1965. Now, if that surprises you, it should. Because officially, these coins were never supposed to be made in silver. But a few slipped through the cracks, and they can be worth thousands of dollars today. So sit back, relax, and let's uncover the full story behind the 1965 silver quarter. This is one you definitely don't want to miss. To understand why this coin is so special, we have to go back to the early 1960s. At that time, United States quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But by 1964, the price of silver was climbing, and the cost of producing coins was becoming too high. People started hoarding silver coins, and a coin shortage followed. To fix this problem, the U.S. Mint made a big decision. Starting in 1965, quarters would no longer be made of silver. Instead, they would be made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, cheaper and more practical for everyday use. The change officially happened in 1965. All quarters from that year forward were supposed to be copper-nickel, with no silver content. But here's where things get interesting. Somehow, a few leftover silver planchets, the blank metal discs used to strike coins, from 1964 were used to strike some 1965 quarters. These silver planchets were never supposed to be used in 1965, but a few made it through. That's what makes the 1965 Washington silver quarter dollar so rare and valuable. It's a coin that wasn't supposed to exist. Now let's talk about how to tell if you found a real 1965 silver quarter. Because this coin looks nearly identical to a regular copper-nickel quarter from the same year, you have to pay close attention. Here are the steps. Check the date. It must say 1965. Weigh the coin. A genuine silver quarter from 1965 will weigh around 6.25 grams. A standard copper-nickel quarter weighs only about 5.67 grams. That difference may seem small, but it's very important. Look at the edge. Modern quarters have a visible copper-colored strip along the edge. A true silver quarter will have a solid silver edge with no copper showing. Listen for the ring. Silver quarters have a distinctive sound when dropped gently on a hard surface. It's a high-pitched ring, very different from the dull sound of clad coins. Get it tested. If you suspect your 1965 quarter is silver, have it tested by a reputable coin dealer or send it to a grading service for verification. Let's go over some important facts about the coin. Date: 1965. Weight: about 6.25 grams if silver, 5.67 grams if copper-nickel material. 90% silver, 10% copper. For the rare silver version, mint marks. No mint marks appear on quarters from 1965, as the mint temporarily removed them to discourage hoarding. Rare errors: some 1965 quarters were struck on silver planchets by mistake. These are the most valuable. Others may have weak strikes, double dies, or off-center errors, which can also increase value. Why this coin is rare and valuable? The 1965 silver quarter is valuable because it's not supposed to exist. It is a transitional error coin, meaning it was struck during the changeover from one metal to another. Collectors love transitional errors, especially when they involve silver. Only a handful of 1965 silver quarters are known to exist today. Some have been found in circulation. Others were discovered in old collections. Every time one is found, it becomes a big deal in the coin collecting community. Let's talk money. If you have a 1965 quarter that turns out to be silver, here's what it could be worth: worn condition. Even with heavy wear, a silver 1965 quarter can sell for over $1,000, circulated but in decent shape, between $2,000 and $5,000, uncirculated or high grade. Some examples have sold for over $7,000, certified and verified. A 1965 silver quarter graded by a service like PCGS or NGC has sold for more than $10,000 at auction. In one case, a certified 1965 silver quarter sold for $12,650 at auction. Another example sold for $8,812. These are real numbers for a coin that many people might overlook in their pocket change. So what's the takeaway here? If you've got a jar of old change, it's time to take a closer look. That 1965 quarter you thought was worthless could actually be a rare silver coin worth thousands of dollars. Check the weight. Look at the edge. And if you think you have something special, don't let it go until you get it checked. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it can also be a way to get lucky or even get rich. The next big find could be sitting right in your home. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare pennies, valuable coins, and coin collecting secrets, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with your friends or family. You never know who might be sitting on a small fortune, and remember, always check your change. That next coin could change your life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Did you know that a simple 2006 Singapore $1 coin could be worth way more than its face value today? In fact, some collectors are willing to pay up to $30 or more for a single piece. If you have the right one, this isn't just any ordinary coin you find in your change. The 2006 Singapore $1 coin has a story that makes it a hidden treasure for collectors around the world. From its design to its limited mintage and rare varieties, this coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, just waiting to be discovered. So, why is this coin so special? And what should you look for to know if yours is valuable? Let's dive into the fascinating world of the 2006 Singapore $1 coin. The Singapore $1 coin was part of the iconic floral series, which was first introduced in 1985. Each denomination featured a different native flower, and the $1 coin proudly displayed the Vanda Miss Joaquim, Singapore's national flower. It symbolizes resilience, beauty, and the multicultural spirit of the nation. The 2006 issue wasn't the first or last of its kind, but what makes it stand out is what happened during that year: a shift in production numbers and some surprising minting quirks that have made certain versions of this coin highly collectible. Now here's where things get interesting. The 2006 $1 coin wasn't minted in huge numbers compared to other years. While it was circulated, the total quantity was lower than usual, and many of these coins are no longer in pristine condition. That makes high-grade versions, especially those in UNC, uncirculated, or proof-like condition, much harder to find today. But there's more. Some 2006 coins have been noted to have slight die variations or striking anomalies, which adds even more value in the eyes of collectors. In coin collecting, even a small difference, like a misaligned die or a sharper floral detail, can mean the difference between a regular coin and a rare find. If you're looking to see if your 2006 Singapore $1 coin is valuable, here are some key things to check. Coins that show little to no wear are the most valuable. Collectors love coins in brilliant uncirculated condition with strong luster. A well-struck coin with clean edges and strong details, especially around the flower and lettering, is always in demand. Any coin with mint errors or that was struck off-center, has double die markings, or contains other unusual features can be extremely valuable. If your coin was part of a mint or proof set, and is still in its original packaging, the value increases even more. Now for the part you've been waiting for: how much is this coin actually worth? In average circulated condition, the 2006 $1 coin is still worth its face value. But in uncirculated condition, it can fetch $5 to $15 depending on the market. And if it's a proof version or has any kind of mint error or unique variation, prices can shoot up to $30 or even more. Some online listings and private collectors have reported paying premium prices for coins with rare traits or exceptional preservation. So don't overlook this coin just because it seems common at first glance. so the next time you're going through your old coins or spare change, don't forget to look out for that 2006 Singapore $1 coin. It might just be the small treasure that's been hiding in plain sight. If you found this video interesting, share it with your friends and family, especially those who have jars full of old coins. You never know what they might discover, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about coins that could be worth a fortune. Who knows? The next coin we talk about might be sitting in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting.